My first impressions of seminary are kind of mixed, partly because my father is a pastor, so I had heard something about seminary before I started to think about it seriously. I remember when I was actually really young, my parents trying to explain the difference to me between cemetery and seminary. And so I had met people that my father had known, friends here from seminary, who became like my aunts and uncles, the surrogate aunts and uncles that you have as your parents' friends and everything. But I had never really thought about what seminary would mean for me. So as I got older, thinking about my own experience at seminary, I was a little concerned because I was afraid that it would be kind of like a monastery, or that, even though I had heard these great stories about my dad and my mom when they were here and their friends, somehow thinking about it in your own terms makes it a little different. So I was afraid it'd be kind of like a monastery. Or I was also concerned that there wouldn't be a lot of people right out of college, because for a while the trend had been that there were a lot of second career people, but that was a pleasant surprise too. When I actually got here, it's very different from college, but it's fun in a different and new way. All of the classes are in the same subject area, which is still getting used to since it's only my first year here. I really enjoy making and knowing friends from different backgrounds, from different countries, of different ages. I have close friends that are my age, but also who are my parents' age, and for me that's just a new and wonderful experience. I was also surprised at how friendly and accessible the professors are. I went through that with college too. The doctrine from the name kind of scared me off in college, and then I was, oh, these people are real people. Yeah, that happened in college for me too. But here, it's also been that same experience. That yes, these people do this fantastic research in subjects I only know a little bit about, but they're also very accessible and eat with us at lunch and are available for us to ask questions and get to know better.
People really don't understand what you study at seminary. They're like, well, what are the subjects? Because it's not very clear to people who haven't done any religious education before that there's biblical studies and there's theology and there's practical theology, and there's history and things like that. So that's one of the biggest things. There's also a sense that people would say, I'm not a seminary person. And it could be tied into their perceptions of pastors too. I am not like my pastor. I don't do the same things, especially college students who are at a different stage in life than their middle-aged pastors are, who party more or hang out more or just have different values and priorities. They see a disconnect between themselves and that image of what a pastor or a seminarian is about. So that's one of the biggest things and you can dispel a lot of that just by saying, hi, I'm 23, I'm a seminarian, you're hanging out with me right now, and I'm not that weird, I'm not that different. And also just by sharing what it's like, what the community life is like at a seminary, which has even been surprising for me. I didn't think that the kind of social networks and the kind of things we do here would be the case.
At seminary, I thought there was going to be a lot of people that were very involved in gospel, that they were going to be very into worship styles and different things. I expected a broad spectrum of different people when I came down here, and when I got to seminary, I realized that there are a lot of very different people, but that's what makes them all truly unique. And I've gained a lot of friendships that I probably wouldn't have had I not been here, and they're from every different walk of life. So it's been a growing experience for me being at seminary.
I stepped on the campus of LTSP and said, this is where I'm going. I did it. Hardly any students were here, in fact. But I was talking to the administration and faculty and all of that, and for some reason I just thought, this is very strange. I know nothing about this campus, and this is where I feel called to go, but that's not logical, and so we're just not going to go with that. But the more I heard, the more I thought, this is it. And I remember Rick telling me what a cutting-edge place this is, and for me, that's exactly what appealed to me at the time. So the seminary was just an incredible place with incredible faculty and people, and then to top that off, you have Philly, which is an amazing city with so many opportunities and so much room for growth.
I went to college at a very big university, and so seminary is a smaller setting than what I was used to for school, so it was a shock in that sense too, not being in a lecture with 400 people, but having a smaller setting where you could really interact with people, 20 or 30, and now in my last year, coming from classes of 8 or 10 people, where you really can have your voices heard. So I mean, everything is different than what I thought it was going to be.
It's in a completely different environment for me. In Virginia, I mean, even though I'm from a fairly big city in Virginia, it's nothing compared to being in Philadelphia. So I definitely wanted to be somewhere that was urban. And the thing that I love about LTSP is that you're very close to Center City, so you can hop on the train for $3 and be downtown in 20 minutes, but you're not in the city, you're not in the midst of all the hustle and bustle, but it's still a very urban place in Mount Airy where things are happening. So I really like that.
Well, I love the community at both places. I really felt that the academics in Philadelphia were stronger. So rather than my West Coast school actually wasn't Lutheran that I was very interested in, and it both had very strong community, both had just a wonderful atmosphere of people, but Philadelphia just had the stronger academics, and that was what I wanted.
I have to say that Philadelphia is a great place to discern a call, because it's a safe environment, but not an environment that doesn't challenge us. And in this place, I have found faculty and staff who carry us through the process with loving guidance and with merciful guidance.
Well, seminary is a great place. It's a place where you can definitely find yourself if you don't know what you had wanted to do. LTSP, it's a great place, a lot of different people, a lot of diversity here to where you can do a lot of things, and it's a great city to live in.
It's not always easy. I mean, there are good days and bad days, but overall, if you do feel called, I think when you're done with it, you look back on it and realize, I mean, even though I've only been here a semester, each day I'm constantly looking back on the day and saying, I'm really glad I'm here. I'm really learning a lot. This is really where I'm supposed to be.